What's up, y'all? My name is Ian Edwards, and welcome to the Soccer Comic Rant. I don't know why I say this every week, because you probably know where it's at if you're listening to it, but the podcast is available at allthingscomedy.com. And if you go to allthingscomedy.com, there's a host of other great and amazing comics there with their own podcast, and you can check out some of their podcasts. You can also get in contact with me on Instagram at Ian Edwards Comic, which some of you do, and on Twitter at Ian Edwards Comic. And the podcast is also available at SoundCloud, Libsyn, Stitcher, iTunes. Yeah, those are the main places. We have a sponsor. And the sponsor is onthevolleyapparel.com, and they're the makers of this hoodie that I'm rocking right now. And if you go to onthevolleyapparel.com, you can get a bunch of hoodies, sweatshirts, t-shirts, tanks, and they all have a hip hop logo combined with a soccer logo. So if you grew up on hip hop and soccer, onthevolleyapparel.com is the place for you to go to lace up and get some gear for your local club team, or just to rock and wear places. This one right now, it's the Wu-Tang symbol with a soccer field on it. It's a weird way to play soccer, but you got to do what you got to do when all you got is a Wu-Tang symbol to play ball on. But, I mean, look how sexy I am right now in this thing. Just amazing. So go there, use my promo code ComicRant, get 20% off at onthevolleyapparel.com. And I've done the podcast solo before with no guests, but that was not, I've never done it on camera with no guests. So I might be a little nervous today. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. There's nobody to talk to. There's nobody to look at and listen and think in my head, what the fuck are you talking about? That is not true. It's just me solo. So let's dive into this thing and have some fun. I don't know where to always look because the computer's over here and the camera's right there, but we'll figure it out. And we're going to talk about Premier League. And we always go from the top of the table down to the bottom of the table. And at the top of the table, for real this time, all games are even with Liverpool. 29 games in, with 71 points, Man City are at the top of the table. And, they took control of this thing. They went, and let me see, it was a game. They went down to Bournemouth, and it wasn't easy. It was not easy. Bournemouth pretty much battened down the hatches, circled the wagons, built the wall that Trump's been dying to get across the Mexico border, and shut it the fuck down. And Man City had to keep on battering on those walls like it was the second, they don't call it episode. What's the prequel? It wasn't even the prequel. What's the second Lord of the Rings? Sequel. Yeah, when they was storming the castle, it was like that. So basically, you have Man City pounding and pounding on the door of Bournemouth, and which is surprising because Bournemouth is a team that normally just goes for it. They we're gonna have a party and we're gonna go for it too, and we're gonna have fun losing. But this time, this was a Bournemouth that normally puts up a fight, just decided to escape without giving up goals. And Man City was only able to get one goal out of this. Bournemouth, they're in 12th place. So here's the story of the match. The story of the match is, I'm trying to get to the stats, but the internet's a little slow. Let me see. So I'm going to blame this glitch right now on the internet. Has the internet been slow all day, Aaron? No, just on my computer. Son of a. Yeah, because I'm trying to access this thing so I can just read off these stats. Well, I'm just gonna go off my memory until this circling thing stops. Basically, Bournemouth had no shots on goal, but not only did they have no shots on goal, they had no shots. Period. So it's hard to have a shot on goal when you have no shots. Period. And then there was another stat that was zero for them too. They had three stats that were like 0, 0, 0. I forgot what the third stat is when they show you the stats. And they only had like 100 and something passes to Man City's 810 passes. And Man City had like 22 shots. I don't know how much is on goal because this thing is not showing it to me right now. But they basically could have just played a half-court game. You know, like in basketball, sometimes when you go down to the park, you play half-court. That's all this should have been. They should have played the first half, and after the first half, they were like, oh, so you're not going to come out your half. You're just going to stay on the side of the field that we want to be on, Bournemouth. So, all right, so we'll just start the second half, all of us just in the same half. And, yeah, they just could have played a half-field game of professional Premier League football because Bournemouth did not try to venture out. They did not get a shot off, period. And in the game, Kevin De Bruyne got hurt for Man City. I don't know how hurt he is, but it's one of those things where he made a pass and then he knew he was hurt. He was solo by himself. He's like, he was more by himself on that field, in that area of the field, than I am right now in the studio. And then he just stopped. And he was like, yo, I'm hurt. And then he spoke to them, and then he came out the game. But the good thing about that was that Riyad Mahrez, who's just been sitting on the bench, languishing, and I've been hearing like interviews with Pep, and Pep is like, there's nothing wrong with how he feels about Riyad Mahrez. He hasn't gotten in the game because the other players are playing so well. So nothing against Riyad. When there's a chance, he'll get in the game. He trains well, and he looks good in training. And, yeah. So Riyad Mahrez got in the game, and in the 55th minute, he scored. So that's amazing and great for him to score the only goal in a game where Bournemouth were just trying not to give nothing up. And the page loaded. So let me just go to the stats on this thing. Normally it's pretty straightforward, but now I think the Premier League page has changed up the way they do things. So, yeah, but I've pretty much given up the stats on this thing. Bournemouth, circle the wagons. Man City went there. They bombarded them, got a goal. That's all you need to win when the other team doesn't even try to score on you, is one goal. And so Man City wins 1-0 at Bournemouth. They get all 3 points, and they go ahead. Now, this game, I think, was played on Saturday. So then Liverpool had the derby against Everton to play, the Merseyside derby to play on Sunday. So we were going to see if Liverpool could maintain their 1-point lead on City. And they couldn't. Liverpool played. They're second in the table. They have 70 points. They're behind Man City, who has 71 points. And they could not beat Everton down at Everton. Score was 0-0. Everton came out, and they did what the fuck they had to do. They put energy into this. There was a game plan. They stuck to it. The players listened to Marco Silva. And I think more than listening to Marco Silva, it's a derby. It's a Merseyside derby. And Everton players are like, we'll listen to you, and we'll put this effort into this game that we should be putting into all the other games that we play, because this is the Merseyside derby, and we hate Liverpool. You know, we used to be the same football club. Fuck them. So we're going to play hard as hell now to prevent Liverpool from winning the title. We'd rather see Man City win the title than Liverpool, than our dreaded, hated enemies / cousin Liverpool. And so Everton really put in a shift. They actually put in a shift like this the last time they played Man City. So they they lost to Man City, but they put in an amazing shift, and they put in a great shift overtime in regular time against Liverpool to stop them from beating them. And you know, good for Everton, good for Marco Silva, because the Everton fans already don't like him, but they pitched in, the fans, because it's just the hate for Liverpool. So everything, sometimes, you need hate to get some love if you're Marco Silva and the Everton fans. And so, the result was something that they're happy about, because the Everton fans know that Liverpool is a dope team, and that they the week before Liverpool scored, Liverpool put 5 past Watford, which is higher in the table than Everton. 5 through them. So for them, Everton, to stop Liverpool from scoring, period, and make them lose their place in the table ahead of Man City, this is a win. This is a win, and they're in love with that result, and the players put in work. Let me see who Everton's playing next week. Everton's playing Newcastle next week. Let's see a team that they're ahead of in the table. Let's see what they do next week. Let's see how good they play. But it's because it would be kind of fucked up, even though you're going down to Newcastle, and people say it's not easy to play. But Newcastle's been relegated, so it's not as hard as they say it is to play down there, as they say it is to play down there. Let's see if these players all we wanted to do was stop Liverpool. That's all we care about. So, yeah, we could lose to Newcastle. Let's see what type of effort these players put in. Let's see if this thing is contagious, and if they continue to be inconsistent, which is kind of their season. They're 10th, Everton, which is not bad, but even Everton usually does better than 10th. All right. 3rd in the table is Tottenham, right? They played Arsenal at home, North London Derby. Is it the North London Derby? It's a derby. And what do I have to say about this? So, as far as Arsenal is concerned, there's 2 teams that have been in trouble lately, Arsenal and Chelsea. And they both have new coaches in common. But they both are finding their way out of this trouble. And Arsenal's teams have definitely been playing better lately. And they've had 3 wins out of their last 4. And in this game, they went to Wembley to play Spurs, and they got a draw. And you could see that, I said this before, you don't fire Emery and you don't fire Sarri, because even Pep didn't win in their first years in the league. And Emery is slowly but surely changing the team, putting his imprint on the team, get them in with the game plan. And what I do like about Emery is that he recognizes the weaknesses of Arsenal. Like, Arsenal needs to be tough in the middle. And they've had some injuries on defense, but they still probably need better defenders, maybe. I don't know. I'm kind of versed in Arsenal, but I don't know. I'd have to see how they've had so many injuries. It's hard to tell if they really need better defenders. You know what I mean? But definitely, there's no question they need toughness in the midfield. And they need toughness in the midfield, and they showed it in the last few games. So that's a positive for them. Like, they came out, they played Spurs, and they played without the ball. And that's an issue with Arsenal, like them playing without the ball, and then their reactions to Spurs attacks. Arsenal's reaction to Spurs attacks were phenomenal. As a matter of fact, Arsenal's goal came from a great reaction to a Kane attempt. 3 guys surrounded him in the penalty area and be like, Boy, give us that fucking ball. There's 3 of us here. You ain't going to get past us. Took the ball. I think it was Xhaka who cleared it up, and it found its way to Ramsey because one of the Spurs defenders, I think it was, the problem is Sanchez, Wanyama, and Sissoko are the same complexion. They're built alike, same height, same bad hairdos. So it's hard to tell which one of them the ball went through and got to Ramsey. And Ramsey just got in front of the other one of whoever looks like Sanchez, Wanyama, and Sissoko. Got in front of him, and that player could not catch him. And Ramsey played it perfectly. Ran towards the goal, had the defender behind him, cut to the right. Defender pretty much ran into the goalkeeper, slotted it in. Boom. An amazing goal. Good for Ramsey, who's leaving. He's going to Juventus. And this is his last derby. And he got an amazing fucking highlight-worthy goal. And Spurs came back at them. This was like, I want to check and see how evenly matched this was. Let me see if I can find the stats somewhere else. Let me see if I can find the stats somewhere else. Let me see. So, Tottenham. So here's the stats. So, Spurs had the ball, 61% possession. So, all right. So Spurs possessed it more. But again, it's how Arsenal played without the ball. Normally, when you dominate Arsenal like that, they're not going to defend that well. But like I said, they're turning it around. And it's going to be interesting to see how much stronger their players will get at just being really tough-minded in the midfield. Also, in this game, there was a penalty. Let's jump to that. So, score of the game was 1-1. Spurs equalized when Harry Kane was shoved to the ground from behind on a free kick. Now, he was offside. There's no question about that. So, yes, he was fouled, but if you're fouled in an offside position, you're interfering with play, and you're obviously interfering with play if the defender feels like he has to foul you. So it shouldn't have been a penalty at all, and but they got a penalty anyway, and Harry Kane, being a stone cold-blooded murderer, put that shit in the back of the net, 1-1. Now, at the end of the game, Arsenal got a penalty, and Aubameyang took it, and Aubameyang took the complete opposite. Harry Kane's penalty was flawless. Like, there was no way Leno was going to save that. Like, even if he dived the right way 3 times faster than he did. Just smooth grass cutter from feet of Harry Kane to the corner pocket of the net. You ain't saving that. And Aubameyang's penalty was just like, it was like I took that penalty. It's like, with no training, haven't kicked a ball in years, and I walked up to the spot. I could have done what Aubameyang just did, just straight down the middle, goalkeeper. Like, nah, bro, it's not happening. So the other weird thing, even though Arsenal got points and they're happy about the results, and Spurs, they're definitely happy about the results because this game could have been a loss. And the thing is about this game, just the questions about who Arsenal played in this game. Like, Arsenal played in this game, they didn't start Aubameyang, so why not? They started, I think, Lacazette in front of him. And let me try to see if I can get to this lineup, which is kind of weird. It's like, Aubameyang's your hottest guy, and you don't start him. Why, Emery? Why not? Why didn't you start him? It's kind of weird. And again, this stat thing is not showing up. Like, Normally when you go to PremierLeague.com, they'll show you like who played, who started, but it's not doing that today. So great. They knew I was going to be doing a solo thing on camera and I'd need stuff. And they're like, fuck you, Ian. All right. So cool. It's not there. And I'm not embarrassed at all. But it's just weird. But another good thing that he did, Emery, was he put in Ozil. And he played Ozil last week, and they had great results. Last week when Arsenal played, they played Southampton. Arsenal scored 5. They put 5. They embarrassed them. And they beat them back down into the relegation zone, or close to it. And Ozil was a part of that 5-1 win against Southampton. And he did not start like one of the most prolific scorers against a heated, hated enemy. So I don't understand why he didn't start Aubameyang. I mean, got him off the bench, but if you're not going to play both Lacazette and Aubameyang, why not start Aubameyang? So I don't know if it's an injury thing. Somebody knows, let me know. But that was just kind of weird. But still, his team played pretty well. And they got a point down at Wembley. And Spurs, you drop points. And you've lost 2 in a row. And then you had this draw. And so my question is, so I have some Pochettino questions. So before this game, Pochettino was like, I don't think our team is going to win the league. It'll probably take 10 years for Spurs to match these teams and win the league. So first of all, you're in 3rd place. You're only at that point, 5-6 points off, right? You have a decent number of games. And right now they're 8 points off. Before he opened his big mouth, they were only 5 or 6 points off. 5 points off one team, 6 points, and with over 10 games. So you're the coach of a team that wants to win a title, right? Why would you say some shit like that? And it's almost as if he's making excuses for when his team doesn't, which means to me he doesn't believe his team could. And it's like Leicester, and I know it's a different season and a different year, but you're within 5 or 6 points of the top, right? So when Leicester won the league, they believed they could win the league, and they were far from the best team in the league. So again, why would you say this before this game? It's like whose feelings are you trying to spare? Yours, or you don't want the fans to get on you, or why do you make excuses? I don't like coaches who make excuses, and this is why I love Solskjaer, which is what we're going to get to next, because Solskjaer never makes excuses, and he's had all the chances possible to make excuses, and he hasn't made one yet. I don't like coaches. I don't believe in coaches who make excuses before a game, and coaches who make confusing statements. He's made statements like, well, winning a domestic trophy is really not that important. It's no, it's super important when you're playing for coaching a team that could win one and hasn't won one in a long time. So it's this guy is positive, but he's also is showing his insecurity at the same time, because he's gotten Spurs far. But you have to believe all the way to get them the rest of the way. And this is why I'm glad Solskjaer's doing the job that he's doing at Man U, so that we as a team can stop considering Pochettino as a potential to replace Solskjaer. So, because I don't want a guy who's going to make excuses. He shouldn't be making statements like that. He should say, there's a bunch of things. We have as good a chance as anybody. How about that? We're going to give it our all. Not, I don't see us winning it. What? You got players in the locker room. And I know this could be something you could just be saying into the press, and then when you go in the locker room, you could be saying something different. But I just need the coach to be confident on the outside as he is on the inside. As confident outside the locker room as he is inside the locker room, so that the players don't let themselves off the hook. You just can't let people off the hook. Like, I'm a hard-working guy until somebody gives me a compliment. And I'm like, shit, I did it. And then I'll take a few weeks off until I bomb. And they're like, shit, I got to work hard again. So you might have Spurs players like me in your locker room who need to hear, we need to keep pushing. So this is why I don't think Pochettino, even though he's a good coach, he's not an elite coach. All right. And also, Pochettino is playing Champions League this week, right? Midweek. So they have to play Borussia Dortmund. So this is another thing Pochettino said. So Pochettino hits out over Tottenham's massive disadvantage. So this massive disadvantage he's talking about, he said, Pochettino has complained bitterly about Tottenham's lack of preparation time for their Champions League second leg at Borussia Dortmund on Tuesday night. This guy is saying, my team played on Sunday. We only have 2 days to prepare, 1 day for recovery, and then we go to Dortmund and play them on Tuesday. But every team that's an elite team during the season has these issues, and you're either going to win or you're not. You can't make excuses. This shit has been this way for so long. And then you're making excuses again, especially when you beat Borussia Dortmund 3-0 at home. You have a 3-goal advantage. And if you score at least half an away goal, it gives you even more of an advantage. So why are you making excuses for how badly your team might perform when they haven't even, the game hasn't even been played yet? Like, the greatest coaches in the history of football have had short turnarounds and short recovery times. You can't be the excuse guy. Like, I prefer, I don't like excuses, but I prefer a person to make excuses after shit went wrong, not before. Like, what are you, a pre-excuser? Like, what the fuck is going on here, Pochettino? Like, just believe a little bit. I just don't think this is good. You got a 3-goal lead, and you're like, man, we didn't have enough time to prepare for Borussia Dortmund. They're the ones that need time to prepare for you. And what about when you beat them 3-0? Did they play on Sunday? Did they have 2 days? I don't know, but they might have. But this is not an excuse business. If you want an excuse game, I guess stay at Spurs, because they accept excuses before bad things happen. But no, you're not an elite coach. Not with excuses. Fuck that. So that's why I don't want you at Man U. Speaking of Man U, we're fourth. We're fourth with a coach that doesn't make excuses. We're in a Champions League spot. When he came here, we were 11 points out of a Champions League spot. We haven't lost a Premiership game since he's been here. We've had 1 loss and 2 draws. And one of the draws was against Liverpool, at Liverpool. No, well, it was at home. Again, we played them at home. But we're playing the top team in the league that needs to beat us, and we're taking points from them. All right? We're taking points. That's how we roll. We put our hand in their pocket, and we took some of the change out of it that they needed to buy themselves a title. It was like, fuck that. We taking that with us. And that's how we roll. And we had injuries. And we've had injuries. We had injuries against Crystal Palace. We played Sanchez and Lukaku. And Lukaku, who can't control a ball with no air in it, as he proves it every weekend. He has no control. Like, there's jokes in England about he has cement feet. Even the positivity of our coach Solskjaer with injuries helps somebody like Lukaku. Like, I'm going to turn my life around because of Solskjaer. Like Like sometimes I'm afraid of things, you know, because I'm afraid the worst will happen. So I prepare for the worst, right? Even though the situation ain't that bad. Like maybe I'm mad at Pochettino because I've lived a Pochettino life. But I'm going to switch to the positive Solskjaer life. Like we've had so many injuries. Like we don't have Matic, Herrera, Martial. We have some of Rashford. We don't have Lingard, right? And who else do we miss? Mata's out. And we have a bunch of injuries, like everybody knows. But when you see Solskjaer in a press conference, the Man U coach, he's like, we have other players and we're going to use them. And he looks at how amazing it is that, all right, we can bring in some of the youth players and try them and see if they can do something. And it's working. We won. Lukaku, no control Lukaku, scored 2 goals 2 weeks in a row. Like, how do you even score if you can't even trap the ball? That's how fucking amazing positivity is from your coach. Like, to be honest, if I was a coach and I'm like, Martial's out, Lingard's out, and I got to play Lukaku, I'm like, shit. I'm like, I got to pretend when I talk to him that I'm being positive, but he's going to see that I don't believe in him. But Solskjaer really believes in these players. Like, he really does. And he knows more about football than I do. But the fans don't believe in Lukaku. And listen, he's kind of like an enigma. He's kind of like a... Aaron, what's that word? Like when people... It's like he's a polarizing figure. That's what it is. Thank you. Like sometimes I don't need you to answer. I just need to talk to somebody, and I can get the word. Like I'm gonna type in how many goals Lukaku has. How many goals does Lukaku have in the Premier League? And it's gonna be an astounding number. He scored. He's got 12 this season. He had 16 last season. He had 25 with Everton before he came to us. 18 this season at Everton, 10, 15, and with West Brom, he was on loan from West Brom Albion, or loan to West Brom Albion, probably from Chelsea. He had 17. So I need to count that up. I wanted them to just tell me, like, how many goals has Lukaku scored? How many? No. Let me go to statistics. I don't want to have to count this shit up. In the Premier League, let me see if they'll just tell me. I'm too lazy to count it up, and it'd probably be faster if I just count it up. God damn it, you son of a bitches! All right. Let me just use a calculator. Let me just use a calculator and put Lukaku's goals in. Let me just use a calculator. So he's got 12 this season, plus 16 last season, plus 25 Everton's last season, plus 18 Everton the season before that, plus 10 with Everton the season before that, plus 15 Everton the season before that, plus 17. This guy has 113 Premiership goals, unless my calculator is wrong, and he's only 25 years old. So he's actually good. But you know who he is to me? I was trying to figure out his name, and I should have figured out his name before. Uruguayan. me see. Diego Forlan. That's who he reminds me of. Like, Diego Forlan played for Man United, and I remember watching him play and thinking he wasn't good enough. And even when he scored, he wasn't good enough. But he was kind of good enough, but it's just not, he just, you know what it was? He wasn't Rooney. You know, like Rooney, there was no question. He was not Van Nistelrooy. There's no question Van Nistelrooy was good enough for us. He was not Van Persie the year or two that he played for us. He was not. He just didn't. It's like, yeah, he scores, but it's like something about it. I'm not comfortable with this guy, and I'm not comfortable with Lukaku, and maybe I should be, but thank God I'm not coaching, because I would have never got 2 goals out of Lukaku 2 weeks in a row. I would have definitely gave off that I don't trust him. I'm not comfortable with him playing this role. And we would have never got these goals. So maybe it's a good thing I'm not a coach. Or I need to like convert to the style of positivity of Solskjaer. Like, positivity is an amazing and a great thing, apparently. And, it's just a life lesson. It's just a life lesson to, I love what Solskjaer is doing at Man U. Injuries, like there are tests every game. We got in, the first game was against Cardiff, and it's like the team was down. He picked them up, players went out there, they won 5-1. Then we had some other victories that got the confidence rolling. And then we had to play the tough games, and then we won. And then now we have to play PSG this week, and they scored 2 goals against us at home, and we have to go up there. And PSG, look out. We got you right where we want you. You think you're going to roll over our injured team without Pogba because Pogba got a red, and you're going to win. That's exactly where we want you, and I can't wait for this game. When is it? When is this game? When are we playing? Champions League. We play PSG Wednesday. You going to get it, PSG. Do I really believe Man U's going to beat PSG at PSG on Wednesday? The answer is no. I don't think we're really going to beat them. But you know what? I do think we're going to beat them. I think we could tie them, or we're going to surprise them, maybe if we beat Juventus at Juventus, I think that was this year. I think PSG might lapse. They might be a little overconfident, and we could do something. I think if we win, it won't probably be enough to overturn the loss at Old Trafford, but I think we could at least win 1-0 or tie 1-1 or 2-2, and it'll be a crazy game. And I know that it's going to be a game that's going to show our fight. So that's what I'm confident of. So I'm being positive. And even though Lukaku's going to start, and Rashford's going to be out there, we got no Pogba, but let's go back, and I'm jumping around to the Tottenham Southampton game, probably the game of the week in the Premier League. 3-2. Now we have to play Pereira, right? So here's the beauty of Solskjaer's positivity. Pereira, when we last saw him, the time before last, he started against Burnley. He played defensive midfield. And Solskjaer tried him out, and he slipped, and a Burnley player got the ball and put it in the back of the net. And it's like there's a young kid, 20 years old, laying it down on the ground in the rain like a child as a man takes the ball from him and puts it in the back of his net. And he's like, it's at Old Trafford. Thousands of people are looking at you, and this is one of your first few starts in the Premier League, one of the biggest leagues in the world, and you're like, there's no question you fucked up. Like, the cameras are on you, you're surrounded by fans, and you're laying in the grass. You slipped in guy got the ball from you and you'd look like a child. And then if you were being coached by Mourinho, you would have been locked in a cage and hung off the side of a castle and never seen again until you starved to death. But the positivity of Solskjaer is like, it's a kid, mistakes happen. It did not look good. Plus, it was a rainy day. But it was, even me, it's like, I don't know if I can forgive this guy for this thing. And even though we tied that game 2-2, I don't know, it's just tough to be like how do you not 1,000% doubt this guy's potential? But Solskjaer, the amazing fucking human being he is, put him in a game the other day before this game, like towards the end of it. And he's like, I'm not giving up on you. Like, I believe in you. I'm not going to give up on you. And then we had the injuries. And sometimes, like I said, injuries don't always have to be bad. And we're out of Matas. We're out of Matiches. We're out of Herrera's. We need some midfield. And you put in McTominay, whose last outing under Mourinho, last few outings weren't that great. But I always liked McTominay. I believe he could be something. And then they start Pereira. And it's Southampton. We're at Man U, but we got injuries. And we're playing these kids. And the coaching of this game comes in weeks before this game. The coaching of this game started when Solskjaer got to the team. He played Pereira. Pereira slipped against Burnley. And Solskjaer kept on coaching this guy the weeks leading up to this and believing in him. Not knowing that he's going to have injuries and actually need this guy. Or maybe he does know, it's the Premier League. I played in it. There's injuries sometimes. I can't shit on this kid. I'm going to need him. And that's the thing. In life, we need each other. So let's keep each other up when we're down. Because sometimes the game of soccer shows you some things that you can take with you in life, and then so he's bringing Pereira along, and he's bringing him along like off screen in training, and then boom, we got injuries. We got to play Pereira. Changes his position, makes him a little bit more attacking, and we go down 1-0 against Southampton, and this fucking kid who slipped against Burnley, gave up a goal, scores an absolute screamer. Like, for your first goal in the Premiership, you'd be lucky to get a tap in. This guy scored a goal. I think it was outside the box, but it's just a rip-roaring fucking rocket launcher of a shot. Puts it in the back of the net. The guy that was on the ground in the rain at Burnley with the entire world staring at him, scores a fucking man-sized goal. Puts it in the net. Not only that, I got to give him props for the slide across the grass celebration afterwards. Arms raised. Because, listen, I've seen people score amazing goals for years and have terrible goal-scoring celebrations. This guy celebrated as if he'd score goals like that all the time. So I give him props for that. So that was amazing. Plus, he was instrumental in Lukaku's goal that put us ahead 2-1. He passed the ball to him. Boom, boom. Lukaku, again, Mr. Leadfoot, has found a soft touch, caressed the ball into the corner of the net. And then Ward-Prowse evens the game. 2-2 for Southampton. And then we come back. And here's another thing. Fred has been a debacle. Fred played last week. I thought he played below average at best. Like, that dude is just nervous. He acts like when Fred is on the field, I feel like a 5-year-old is in a haunted house. Like, he's just spooked. Like, oh, they tackle us? Yeah, it's fucking the Premier League. The people tackle you when you're not on their team. He just gives up the ball. So for him to come on the field as a sub and make the pass to Lukaku again, who puts the ball same side of the net, beats the keeper, and we win late in the game, 3-2, old school Fergie style, being coached by Solskjaer, a disciple, a student of Fergie. Basically, we have Alex Ferguson coaching us because we got Solskjaer. Solskjaer, the ex-player, who used to write down everything that Ferguson said when Solskjaer was being coached by him in the last few seasons of his career. He wrote down everything Ferguson said, and now he's coaching Fergie's old team, and he's bringing that positivity. And so what do we learn from this game? You got to give people a chance in life. You got to encourage them. You got to push them. You got to make them believe in themselves so that they can also help you one day. You know? So if somebody owes you money and they have no job, you keep telling them, I believe you can get a job, because that's the only way you're going to get your money back. So Man U wins again, 3-2. We're in fourth, 58 points. We are 3 points behind Tottenham Hotspurs. We can catch Spurs. Spurs, who is in the title race, can now be caught because we have a coach that believes and they have a coach that doubts. All right. Arsenal, they're in fifth. They got 57 points. Great game for them against Tottenham. Again, I think, maybe I'm crazy, but I think they had the better chances. But, to get a point against Spurs, who are above them in the table, especially the way Arsenal's been going the last few weeks, great. Chelsea, let's go to Chelsea. They're in sixth place. They have 56 points there, but they have a game in hand. So everybody's played 29 games. Chelsea is one of the teams that's only played 28 games. So they still, all third, fourth was up for grabs, but now third is up for grabs because, So here's the deal. So Chelsea plays Fulham, and Fulham just fired Ranieri, and Scott Parker's the new coach. He was the assistant coach under Ranieri, and it's his first game, and everybody loves Scott Parker, Even Ferguson texted him when he got the job last week, and he only had a few days to prepare. I'm not making excuses for him. I mean, Fulham is the total excuse that you would need, period. But, you're going to take the job because you don't know when you're going to get another shot in the Premier League to coach a team. So he took the job, and his first game is against Chelsea. And I just want to go over some things that I think I got right last week when me and Martin were talking about Kepa and just about Sarri. Like last week I was saying, I don't think Sarri's, I always said I don't think Sarri should be fired. And I always think the way the media came down on him, the media's like bipolar. Sarri starts the season, Sarri ball. They start losing a few games. He's fired. How long are Chelsea going to put up with this? It's like, weren't you the same people that were in love with Sarri ball? It's amazing. It's bipolar press time. And then last week with the incident in the Carabao Cup where Kepa didn't want to come off the field and Sarri was like freaking out, and Zola, the assistant coach, was freaking out. It's like, how does a player not come out of the game? And then after the game, I told Martin that based on the statements made by Sarri and Kepa, that there was a miscommunication. Kepa was not injured when Sarri wanted to sub him out. He was pretending to be injured so that he could kill time to get his team into the penalty shootout. And Sarri didn't realize that and wanted to sub him out. But Kepa was like, if I get subbed out of this game and we lose because I get subbed, we lose in penalty kickouts, in the penalty shootout because I faked an injury, I will never be able to live with that. So I think that was discussed. Sarri forgave him. They fined him one game, and they also kicked him out for one game, which was a game when Spurs lost to Was that last week? Yes. Chelsea beat Spurs. Now, Martin was saying that, and the media, just the media period, Sarri's authority is in question because Sarri has questioned his players before, but rightly so. And sometimes players switch off, not just for moments in games, but for games, and Chelsea players have done that. But I think Sarri has managed to turn them back on, right? And I think Sarri has managed to turn them back on, and he proved it in the Carabao Cup final, even though they lost in a penalty shootout, because the way they played Man City, especially after getting beat a week before 6-0 by them, to go 0-0 into overtime and then pass overtime into penalties is a major achievement against a team that just whooped your ass 6-0. So Sarri did that. He won in the Europa League coming up in the last few weeks, and then the result against Tottenham, which was like a digging performance. Like, I saw a Chelsea that again had some of the same issues as Arsenal, but they, in their midfield, they just dug in, they fought, and they just stayed on Tottenham's ass. And it was an amazing goddamn goal by Pablo. Is it Pablo? What? I'm forgetting names. The ex-Barca guy. And amazing goal. And just the team's performance, period. You could see that the Kepa incident, they have gotten past it. And that's good coaching also. And that's a rational. So that's the thing. I like a rational person, because a rational person will find out what's really wrong, and they will be able to fix it because they're listening, they're paying attention, and they're in tune. And I think that's a mark of a good coach, to go off. I know it was heated and it looked crazy during the Carabao Cup final, Kepa not coming off. But once they went off the field and everything was discussed, the way it was handled afterwards was total professionalism and top flight coaching. And the team has responded. Sarri has not lost the locker room, and he's proving to us now that he hasn't, and he's, it's like, it's easy to be a good coach when you're winning, but it's tough to be a good coach when you've lost 6-0 to Man City and your keeper doesn't want to come out in the Carabao Cup final. But so you get a result against Tottenham midweek, and then you come to Fulham, and it's just Fulham, but you get a result against Fulham. Higuain scores, and so did Jorginho, the person who's everybody hates now on Chelsea. The fans have been picking on, the media's been pointing at the media who loved Jorginho when he first got to the bipolar media that was like, just Jorginho, he's amazing. And then because he was targeted, and then now Sarri's made the adjustments, and Jorginho scored up an assist from Hazard, put the ball in the back of the net, won the game. And so I'm happy for those players. And positivity, again, pays off. All right. Let's go down. Wolverhampton Wanderers. They just keep doing what they're doing. They played Cardiff. Cardiff's at the bottom at the table. And Wolves went down there. I think they won this game in the first half. They scored both goals. And, they handled their business. The Wolverhampton Wanderers, they were in the championship last year this time. They are 7th in the Premiership this year. 7th. And it's a legit 7th. They have 43 points. Watford is right on their tail. And Watford is right behind them. They're in 8th. And Watford won again this week against Leicester. And that's an interesting game, because Leicester fired Claude Puel last week, and their new coach is Brendan Rodgers. Brendan Rodgers, ex-Liverpool coach, ex-Watford coach. And so, welcome back to the Premiership, Brendan Rodgers, and your first game is against Watford. So before I even get into this game, let's see let's talk about Brendan Rodgers. Brendan Rodgers won 2 titles with Celtic. He was the coach of Celtic up to last week, right? And Celtic is in the Scottish League, and they're a legendary team, but it's not a legendary league. So I get that. And he's there. He won the last 2 league titles, I think. But they're in the running to win 3 titles this year. And then you get a phone call. This is how great the Premiership is. You get a phone call saying that, hey, it's Leicester. We want you to come join us. And you're at the top. I don't know if Celtic is at the top or they're second in the Scottish table. They're either second or first, but they have a chance to win it. And you get a call from Leicester, who is in 11th in the Premiership. You're first or second in the Scottish League. Leicester's 11th in the Premiership, and you get a call, and you're like, Leicester, I've heard of them. They're in the Premiership. I'll take it. And you walk away from Celtic to go coach a team in the Premiership. That's how huge the Premiership is. Now, the point I want to make is I watched the press conference, the welcoming press conference for Rodgers, and he's talking about Leicester as if like it's some dream job. It's not a dream job. It could be. But don't tell me how much it hurt you to walk away from Celtic when the 11th place team in the league hit you up and you left immediately. It wasn't one of the top 4. They're not even in a European spot. Don't tell me how much it hurt you to leave Celtic because nobody believes you. And there's nothing wrong with you leaving Celtic. You could have just said, could you use an interim coach at Leicester and let me finish this year with Celtic? You could have done that. Maybe it would have worked out. But you don't love Celtic as much as you're saying, and nobody believes you. And it's okay if you don't. Just stop pretending that you do. You're an ambitious guy who wants to coach in one of the top leagues in the world because you want to be known. You have an ego, and you want to be known as one of the best coaches ever. And also, the haunting feeling you have in you from not winning the league with Liverpool the year you came second when Gerrard had that slip. So your ego and coming second with that great Liverpool team that you formed will always haunt you until you fulfill your dream of winning the Premiership. So that's why you left. You could just say that. I made a better speech for you than you did. Like, listen, the Celtic fans, they would hate you regardless, but they would just hate you less. Just say, this is a personal thing that I need to fulfill, because you're dragging your family from Scotland to England, from England all over the place because to fulfill your ambition anyway. So it's like, come on, this is just keep it real, and people more. Listen, say 51% of the people who don't respect you now, you'd at least, and 50% of the people who do respect you now, I would rather have the 51% of the people respect me for me being honest about who I am than the 50 that, you know what, fuck it. I'd just rather, just say you have ambition and I want to be a top coach in one of the top leagues. And that's what I want to leave behind as my legacy. And this is an opportunity to do that. I am sorry, Celtic. And the fans will still hate you. But because here's the thing. You're here to coach these players at Leicester. And if you're going to be dishonest with the Celtic fans and dishonest with to the media, they're going to your players that you have now will see through it. You know what I mean? They're going to see through it. And they're going to know that you're using them for your own ambition and that this is not about all of our ambition. It's just about my ambition. You know what I mean? So you're going to need the honesty to help them help you. You feel me? So stop trying to fool people. It's not working. Just be honest. You're ambitious. Hey, are you guys ambitious? Do you want to win some shit? Let's do it. Like Pep is honest. He's raw. And he's won shit all over the world. You know, Mourinho, he's honest too. And he's won shit all over the world. Solskjaer, he's honest. We're not making any excuses. We're going to go for this. I'm not. And he's winning right now. So just be honest. You lost the game anyway. You lost to your old team, Watford. Vardy got a huge head injury in this game. Hope he's all right. I think he finished the game. He scored actually after the head injury. And he scored a Vardy-like amazing goal. But Watford won 2-1. Troy Deeney scored. And then the Watford sub scored. And after it was 1-1. But welcome to losing, Brendan Rodgers. It's the Premier League. You can win a lot of games in Scotland, but it ain't going to be like that here. And you talked about how much you loved, or you talked about in the welcoming press conference that you spoke to the players and you made it seem like you like them already and you're going to use them and you're going to play them. But I know you're going to try to sell some of those players next year. So I don't think they believe in you either. So it's just not fooling. Just be straight up and see how that works for you. You got an ego, bro. All right, West Ham. They're in 9th. They won. They beat Newcastle. They pretty much dominated them. And West Ham just has Lanzini's back. I mean, you know, Chicharito won a penalty. I mean, he didn't dive, but even when Chicharito doesn't have to dive, that motherfucker still dives. Like, I saw the foul. There was contact, but he did the Bonnie hop thing, and then he puts that pained expression on his face. Like, if I've been tripped before, and it doesn't hurt when you're tripped. You just go down. There's no pain, and if there's going to be a pained expression, it's after you hit the ground, not while you're in midair. So just, Jesus, stop the acting. But West Ham wins. Everton, like I said, you put in a shift. You got a point from Liverpool. You're in 10th. You got 37 points. Leicester, just talked about you. You're in 11th. You got 35 points. Like I said, you lost to Watford, who is a pretty good team. They've been inconsistently consistent, but mostly the good part of inconsistent. So, Watford, you're doing your thing. This is a really good season for you. Good job, new coach. Bournemouth, you circled your wagons against Man City. You built a wall, and you still lost. No shots on goal. But you're in 12th, 34 points. Crystal Palace, who lost to Man U last week, beat Burnley this week. And that's a good win for them because Burnley has been on the upswing, and they've been playing better lately. So any win against Burnley is good. And Roy Hodgson, you're doing great. Your team is in 13th place in the Premiership. Last year, when you took the job, you lost Crystal Palace lost the first 4 games of the season. Then Roy Hodgson came, lost 4, and they survived. And now you're in 13th place, man. Pretty impressive. I mean, it's still the bottom half of the table, but it ain't like the bottom of the bottom. You know what I mean? Newcastle, you're in 14th place, 31 points. You lost to West Ham, but still, for Newcastle, for the shittiness of the owner to be in 14th place, like 31 points. This is week 29. So there's like 9 games left. There's 9 games for you to get 9 more points at 3 points a game, you're in a really good position. And I think you only need to get 38 points to survive relegation now. So Newcastle could breathe a sigh of relief in like 4 or 5 games. And then for the rest of the games, like, fuck it, we're good. Like, just pull out deck chairs and lay down in the sun. Let the other teams kick balls around you. But yeah, good job, Benitez. I never thought I'd be saying this. I've been saying it the last, I guess, year also. For Benitez is a good coach. I liked him before when he was at Liverpool. I guess he just pissed me off at Real Madrid, I guess. Brighton Hove, you're in 15th. Is this the second year in the Premiership? Yeah, pretty good. And considering what's happening to Huddersfield, you both came up at the same time, and your Huddersfield started off last year stronger than you guys, and we thought you were going to go down, but you're still here. You're in 15th. You got 30 points. You 1-0 against Huddersfield. You took, here's a good thing. You took the gift. You played Huddersfield. They're the team you can beat, and you took the gift. You did enough to get the 3 points to be in 15th. Like some teams, they blow the gift. Like it's easy, especially when you're not like a strong, established team, and you're to be like, oh, it's Huddersfield. They're at the bottom of the table. We're bad, but they're super bad. We can't. No, they did not blow this. So good Burnley. Southampton, strong effort against Man U, but you're in 17th. You're floating. You're the king of the turds. You're 17, and there's 3 turds below you that when the toilet gets flushed at the end of the season, they're going to end up in the championship, the league below, and you're the turd floating on the top of the bottom 3 turds. So you might survive the circling flush. You know what I'm saying? When the water comes back up, you might just pop up back and be like, hey, I'm still in the fucking Premiership. I don't know how I survived that flush. So, Lee, your chance still has a chance. Your team still has a chance. But, valiant effort. You went to Man U. You scored 2 goals. We've been really good defensively. And you know what? Southampton, you've been a fucking pain in the ass for Man U the last few years anyway. I remember you beating us and tying us and taking points from us. So I was actually, and then we were injured. We were very susceptible. And you brought it to us, but we beat you. Cardiff, this is my cousin's team. He's on the team. You played Wolves. You both were in the championship last year, but like I said, Wolves is in 7th. They're just leagues above you in the same league. They did their shit right. They put a plan together in the championship so that when they came to the Premiership, they would make a mark, and they are doing it. And Cardiff's plan was, well, Cardiff kind of had a plan too, because when they came up, now they didn't have a plan. They didn't. They came up, and they just did enough to be promoted, but not enough to stay. You still have a chance. You're only 2 points behind Southampton. But let's see if you can climb above the top turd. You got time. And Fulham with Scott Parker, like, you might not be able to catch Cardiff. You have 17 points. Cardiff at least has 25 points, and they can catch Southampton. You might not be able to even catch Cardiff. If you catch Cardiff, you still might go down. So, Scott Parker, just have fun over there, baby. What can I say? Just have fun being a coach in the Premiership with on a team. You have nothing to lose. Try everything. Try the ball boy. Try the medic on the field. You play. You're still young enough. Just experiment. Have some fun with this. This is going to be a learning lesson for you. so that if you do get another job in the Premiership, at least you can say, just maximize your learning in this experience with Fulham. Maximize your learning. Like, this is going to be hard to get out of this. You're going to need an 8-game win streak, and you still might not get out of this shit. So, have fun, baby. And Huddersfield, you've had you did win last week, midweek. You beat Wolves, but you lost this week to Brighton Hove. So, but yeah, man, 14 points. You're in 20th, the bottom of the table. This is normally, this is like the dead man walking music. The trumpet they play at military funerals has been playing long. This the longest period you'll just hear it. You're just gonna hear it for 8 more games, and you've been hearing it before that. But yeah, I think you're down. And I never say never, but Jesus Christ, 14 points after 29 games. And I think I made a mistake before. It's like for Fulham, 17 points after 29 games, not after 19 games. So let me see. One more thing to cover. Champions League. Let me just look at this Champions League. So the games coming up, Real Madrid versus Ajax. That's tomorrow. This is just, Real Madrid is going through some turmoil. You know? They just lost twice to Barca, one in the Copa del Rey and one in the league. Fans are booing Bale. They got a new coach who replaced the other coach mid-season. They're like 11th or 12th points out of first in the La Liga table. But the good thing is they're facing, I'm not dissing Ajax, but they're not the strongest, one of the strongest teams in the Champions League. So if you want to band-aid things a little bit, get this win tomorrow, and it's at Real Madrid. But yeah, this is not the greatest season. Real Madrid got a lot of shit to fix this off season. They should start fixing it now. Figure out what they want to do and how they're gonna do it. So the people in the offices and the chairman, all that shit, I hope you're there, like, figuring out how to rebuild this club. Because you're Real Madrid. And like I said, Dortmund versus Tottenham. Even if Dortmund beats Tottenham, they're not going to score, and they shouldn't score 3 goals. I don't care how tired Pochettino says his men are. And you just don't tell your team that so that they can go to Dortmund and have an excuse to lose for you. You just don't tell your team that. But this would be crazy if Dortmund gets 3 goals back and turns this thing around. This would be crazy because you need to coach your team to tell them we have no excuse, so let's go at this thing 1,000%. Not to be like, make them feel like they have an excuse out of this thing. It's just bad. And then the other games, okay, so PSG versus Man U, I spoke about that a little bit. Yeah, we're going to win. Just kidding. And Porto versus Roma. I can't call that one. I haven't been watching that enough. So that's it. That's the podcast. Did it solo on camera. And only embarrassed myself a little bit. What's the degree of embarrassment there, Brungard?
Degree?
Yeah.
We're looking for a percent? What
Yeah.
kind of number are we looking for?
On a 1 to 10.
1 to 10? Oh, like 2.
2? 2% of embarrassment? I'll take that.
Yeah.
As a solo on camera. Yeah. All right. Cool. All right. So thank you again, Aaron. Appreciate it. This is Soccer Comic Rant. Subscribe. I'm going to be posting this. Go to Ian Soccer Comic Rant Edwards on YouTube. So if you're seeing this, you know it's there, but I should have said that at the top of the podcast. This is how amazing. Okay, we'll go up to 3%. We're up to 3. We're up to 3 now. Just fuck this whole thing down to 3. All right, but it's fun doing this, even if I'm by myself. And what can I say? Follow me on Instagram. Follow me on Twitter at Ian Edwards Comic. And my album, 100% Half-Assed, is available on iTunes, SoundCloud. Not SoundCloud. What is the... what's the thing? I know Spotify. It starts with an S, yeah. Spotify or CD Baby. So check that out. All right, y'all. 1. I'm going to end this embarrassment.